of Iowa. My name is Kyle Portman. I'm the Director of International Dialogues, and we're just so thankful that you have decided to join us today for this World Food Prize Foundation webinar on fostering innovation. This is a first in our webinar series that will start today. We will hold 6 webinars on our sub-themes for our dialogue and culminate in the Borlaug Dialogue, which will be October 24th to the 26th right here in Des Moines. And we're so excited. Today, we're having a conversation featuring World Food Prize Foundation President, Ambassador Branstad, and the 3 most recent Borlaug Field Award recipients, Dr. Salma Sultana, Dr. Elliott Dossou-Yovo, and Dr. Mahalingam Govindaraj. I wanted to say, before we get started, please feel free and feel empowered to use the chat feature and the question and answer feature. Our kind of schedule today is that Ambassador Branstad and myself will have a short discussion, and then we'll turn it over to our esteemed Borlaug Field Award recipients for 3 presentations, and then we will hold a question and answer session. Feel free to put in questions and answers throughout, and we will try to answer them in the chat feature. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you all our new president, Ambassador Terry Branstad. He is the longest serving governor in U.S. history and also in the state of Iowa history. Governor of state of Iowa for over 20 years, and ambassador to China. We're so thrilled to have him on board, and he's been on board since January. Ambassador Branstad, first of all, I'd like to welcome you. And second of all, there may be some people out here in our world, who don't know much about you, even though you're kind of a big deal here in Iowa.
Well, Kyle, thank you. I'm honored to be on this webinar and participate in the digital dialogue. As you mentioned, I grew up on a family farm in Winnebago County, Iowa. That's it's right on the Minnesota border, and 2 counties west of Howard County, where Norman Borlaug grew up. And I'm of Norwegian heritage, like Norman Borlaug, so I feel some affinity to Norman Borlaug and, of course, what he started with the World Food Prize. My family is still involved in farming after 140 years. I have 3 nephews that have come back and run the farm. It's much different than it was when it's much bigger and more diverse and less diversified and more focused on corn and cattle now than it was when I was growing up. And of course, when I was governor, my first term coincided with the farm crisis of the 1980s. And so we witnessed a lot of stress and a lot of difficulty in agriculture. But we worked very hard to diversify and invest in biotechnology. And now we've seen the benefits of that. We worked with Iowa State University and invested in biotech research there. And now we have attracted a number of biotech companies to Iowa. So one of the things I hope to do as president is to focus on the Borlaug legacy and that of John Ruan, and again build the World Food Prize to new heights.
Yeah, well, thank you. And tell us a little bit more then about that connection. Why did you, basically, why did you maybe come out of retirement to become president of the World Food Prize Foundation?
Well, I've been governor when John Ruan teamed up with Norman Borlaug to bring the World Food Prize to Iowa. And then I witnessed over 20 years what Ambassador Ken Quinn did to really build it to what it is today. And I was so impressed with that. And so then when I was approached, of course, having served a long time as governor and then being ambassador to China, I was back in Iowa and I was asked to become the president of the World Food Prize. It was a great honor to be asked, but I wanted Ken Quinn to come back because of his institutional knowledge. So on an interim basis, he is back helping. And of course, Mishal Hussain is the chief operating officer. And so it's fun to team up with them and with people like you, Kyle, on the staff. And so I'm just excited about being able to build on the legacy. Remember, one of the first things I said, I want to take the whole staff up to the Borlaug farm so they can see where this giant in agriculture research grew up on this very humble family dairy farm up there in Howard County, Iowa.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's, I, as an aside, right, I said, Ambassador Branstad, this is a great idea. We should also see that great Iowa institution of Seed Savers Exchange. And immediately, Ambassador Branstad, then this is for the Iowans on the call, immediately Ambassador Branstad said, well, we should stop by Spillville too.
Yeah, where they have the Billy Clark Museum.
Exactly.
And the Seed Savers, when I was governor, my wife got some of the seeds from Seed Savers to plant at Terrace Hill, which is where the governor's residence is. So I'm very familiar with that too. And that's a beautiful part of Iowa, Northeast Iowa.
It is so beautiful. So kind of focusing in then, right? Because I know that you have a vision and a mission that you want to instill with the World Food Prize Foundation. And as this is one of our first events, tell us a little bit more about that vision and mission.
Well, we have several things that we're doing. Of course, next Monday, we're having a youth institute up at Iowa State University. That's where the first one was started, but we now having them all over the world. And that's a great way to make young people that are in, even before college to be interested in this very important area of research and technology and innovation. Also, the Borlaug Dialogue is an opportunity to bring experts from all over the world to talk about the issues that are so critically important to the future to make sure that we're reducing poverty and increasing nutritious food for people everywhere. So it's exciting to be involved in this, and I'm very pleased to be hands-on involved and working with the staff.
Great, that's phenomenal. I guess getting a little bit philosophical then, because we're talking about fostering innovation. We're talking about lifting people up to do great work. And on our webinar today, we have some amazing examples from across the world of people doing a work throughout agricultural and food value chains. So thinking about that, what do you think? How do we foster innovation? What are some kind of buzzwords or ideas around innovation? How do you think about that?
Well, of course, agriculture has gone through innovation throughout its history. I just think of how agriculture has changed here in Iowa since the time that I was a youngster, and how we focused on things like protecting water quality and reducing overuse of chemicals and fertilizers, and obviously biotechnology, and all that's done to increase production and to make us more competitive. As we look at the Borlaug Dialogue this year, sub-themes include empowerment, and of course, we're seeing more and more the young leadership to be female and minority and playing a very key role. Inspiration, investment. Obviously, it takes huge investments, and we in Iowa have been making investments to add value and diversify agriculture. And then mentorship. And mentorships make such a difference because this is where a lot of the young people get the encouragement and support they need to go on to successful careers. And then we need to recognize people that are doing great things. And the World Food Foundation is about doing all of that. So I'm excited to be part of it. And we're looking forward to the dialogue, but we appreciate very much this opportunity today to have these experts from throughout the world who have already accomplished great things share with us their experience and their vision.
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador Branstad. Thoroughly inspired. And I think also, Dr. Borlaug and our foundation continues to applaud innovators who have really revolutionized food systems. And I think we have three folks on this call who are really pushing the ball forward, right, and working to innovate. Just a little bit about the Borlaug Field Award. So the actual name of the Borlaug Field Award is the Norman E. Borlaug Award for Field Research. It's an annual award. It recognizes young scientists that emulate the same intellectual courage, stamina, and determination to fight to eliminate global hunger and poverty. And that award was actually endowed by the Rockefeller Foundation. I would be remiss if I didn't say this year, we have this year's Borlaug Field Award nominations open. And if you know any great young scientists like we have here, today is the day. The nominations close on June 15th, but it's, we love this award, and I'm so happy to have all our three most previous recipients here. So I'm going to introduce each of them, and then we're going to go through some presentations now. So our 2020 Borlaug Field Award recipient is Dr. Salma Sultana. She's a veterinarian, entrepreneur, development worker in the livestock sector in Bangladesh. Salma, thank you so much for being here. Dr. Elliott Dossou-Yovo, who currently works in climate change and agriculture at the Africa Rice Center. His research focuses on climate impacts on rice yield and land sustainability for rice cultivation. Elliott, thank you so much for being here. And Dr. Govindaraj, our most recent Borlaug Field Award winner, who came all the way to Iowa in 2013. So did Salma. In 2022, who's working on climate smart millet. Dr. Govindaraj, thank you so much for being here. And I will turn the floor over to Salma, who I believe will share her screen and have a presentation.
Thank you, Kylie. Give me the opportunity to present my work here. So I'm going to share my screen from my place. Well, this is my screen. Everyone can see that?
We can.
Okay. So I'm just going to share my work. This is Vet Shiva, digital veterinary service, from the previous work to the migration in this 2023. So I would just like to say about what is the Bhet Sheba and how it will really work for our livestock sector. As we know, digital technology, one of the fastest evolving technologies, has received intense attention in recent years as a part of fourth industrial revolution. The revolution is running disruptive digital technologies and innovation that are transforming almost every sector, including agriculture. Therefore, as a subsector of agriculture, livestock play an important role in food security, poverty reduction, public health, and food safety. Science and technological advance over the last century have been the main drivers of the change in the animal husbandry and health industry. Therefore, to stay up to date with the current and future changes in veterinary services and get digital innovation in animal health, Model Livestock Advancement Foundation is trying to transform its service into digital veterinary service named Bhet Sheba from 2018. Bhet Sheba uses some digital technologies that can shape the future of veterinary service in Bangladesh. This technology, Wala data-driven, illustrated by wireless and mobile technologies for animal health monitoring, surveillance, reporting, and information sharing. The project focused on hospital and field-based animal health record keeping and information network related to livestock management, health, animal health, and drug administration. This will help healthcare professionals to understand patients' medical and prescription history and a way to care for them, facilitate more effective prescription, which will have significant role in reducing antimicrobial resistance and mitigating climate change. The project Bhet Sheba have some aim. It is to create a comprehensive, user-friendly electrical health record system that can seamlessly integrate and share data across the different patient clinics and institution, allowing for improving animal health outcomes and advance in veterinary medicine. Another aim is to improve the availability, quality, management, and use of clinical data for animal health professionals involved in the diagnosis, treatment, and surveillance of animal disease. It also aims to increase data analysis capabilities to better understanding disease pattern and to drive research on policy making to strengthen animal health and welfare. Additionally, to improve the livestock practice for sustainable and resilient food system for the growing population. Now, I will highlight some important indicators of Bangladesh, its livestock sector and challenges, so that everyone can understand why the service of Bhet Sheba is really needed. The agriculture sector in Bangladesh is often associated with the term silent revolution. It contributes almost 15% to our country's national GDP. And as a livestock is a key component of this agriculture economy of Bangladesh. It have significant role in employment. It contribute in livestock GDP. It contribute in a whole national GDP in 2%, and share livestock GDP in agriculture almost 17%. And our livestock growth rate is 3%. So we have some challenges in case we have some transformation, but we are still suffering food insecurity, growing antimicrobial resistance, and climate change. Feeding million always a challenge in Bangladesh. We are really a highly dense populated country. About 65 million people live in only 56,000 square miles. This is the picture of our country's population. So we have a 35% population that remain insecure and remain malnutrition. In this slide, we'll get a reason about the malnutrition by knowing the production and consumption rate. Our milk demand is really 250 ml per capita, but we are getting 200 ml, and our dairy product consumption is very less. It's only about 45%. Besides, our milk milk consumption, our meat demand is 120 grams per capita, but we have availability almost 150 grams. The meat demand is fulfilled by poultry meats, not by the red meat. Our red meat consumption is only 8 grams. So we can see that dairy consumption and red meat intake are less than our body requirement. Here are the livestock population growth diagram that shows that livestock population has increased significantly compared to our previous years. According to the chart, our livestock population has increased, but the production is not meeting our demand. So we can easily say our population is high, but our production is slow. There are some barriers in our production system. We know high production depends on the proper feed and nutrition, appropriate herd health management, accurate disease management, and government support. But we are suffering from the scarcity of feed and fodder, lack of grazing land, high price of feed, farmer unawareness, wide gap between traditional and scientific farming, inadequate coverage of animal health service, insufficient health professionals and skilled manpower in the field level, lack of technological advancement, diagnostic tool and research facilities, high occurrence of emerging and emerging disease, and the most important is indiscriminate use of antimicrobials and multi-drugs. If we overcome this constraint, then we will have improved productivity that improve our household nutrition and increase our income that will lead our food security. We have another challenge, that is antimicrobial resistance and climate change. Besides food insecurity, the country is also facing antimicrobial resistance, growing antimicrobial resistance and climate change issue, which is closely related to our animal farming. Animal farming often rely on the use of antibiotics, that antimicrobials and other antimicrobials to keep animal healthy and prevent disease outbreak. While this medication can be effective, they can also contribute to the development of the antibiotic resistance bacteria. These enter into the human food chain and consuming animal generated food product are re-enter the environment through manure and human wastes. And another thing is environment issue. In addition to the use of medication, traditional farming practice also have environmental impacts, particularly in terms of water pollution and greenhouse emission. The methane gas produced from animals' manure and other waste products can contribute to climate change. Animals are within a fragile ecosystem. Growing AMR and climate change actually interact with each other at the same time. Non-practicing climate smart farming system is a high population, high livestock population countries which can increase greenhouse gas emission that facilitate global warming, resulting natural disaster or climatories at that level, and our cultivable land fertility reduce, and then with our lowering the feed and fodder production that leads high market cost and arise nutritional deficiency. As a result, low production. Simultaneously, high livestock population shedding AMR pathogen in the environment. It destroys soil microbes and increase soil infertility. In addition, its antimicrobial pathogen develop superbugs, cause environmental contaminants that have effect on the One Health. So our effort to overcome these challenges, we have started in 2015, Model Livestock Advancement Foundation. We are working on animal health, veterinary health service, creating livestock professionals, farmer awareness and development, market linkage, technology transfer. As we have started in 2015, we have established first outdoor veterinary hospital in Bangladesh. It is a small diagnostic-based laboratory hospital which facilitates evidence-based animal health treatment. In 2018, we launched Pet Seva. It is a helpline and web application-based digital veterinary services in Model Life Establishment Foundation. Animal owner communicate to our hospital through the hotline and website. Expert physician and consultant solve the problem over phone call. In this case of sick animals, livestock service provider check the animals physically and serve as the instruction of the expert. And in 2022, we are trying to develop electronic clinical information system and e-prescription. And it is a treatment management application that gives healthcare professional a system where field livestock service provider collect farmers and animals information, register case file using mobile technologies, animal management system, including animal management system to their clinical symptoms, capture images and videos and send those to the expert physician panel for generating prescription. Expert create e-prescription for each register case file and send to the livestock service provider in a PDF format or to store or print out. This has some unique key features. It improves healthcare coordination. Because we have a team, sophisticated, high-quality healthcare is served by the team of healthcare professionals. Each number of team has a specific limited interaction with the patient depending on their expertization. It record real-time patient data. It also contain treatment histories, diagnosis, medical histories, treatment plans, and immunization date and laboratory result. Besides this activities, it also enhance research capacities according to the species, breed, age, history, clinical symptoms, and complication. Recommended heart health management, treatment, and type of antibiotic is used at the field level, which will serve as a huge database for research on disease occurrence, effective medication, reduce antimicrobial resistance, climate change, and improve its clinical quality. So this is the responsive display of electronic clinical information systems and e-prescription. Farmers and animal health professionals can register them, and everyone get specific roles to interact. It's our web-based application visual dashboard. Here we can collect all kind of patient data at the time, and it's monthly, yearly. So we can have the geographical or the timely information of which disease occurrence in which area and which kind of symptom are observed in a specific area or a specific species. We can get all kind of information from there. Physician, expert physician can use this portal for creating a prescription, and the new data or available market generic drugs are all are inserted there, so they can use the drugs as availability of this specific area of market, and they use the diagnostic tool. Here is a information of this system. It will notify the physician the system that is a digestive system or the respiratory system, what system is affected according to the inserted data by the livestock service provider. Physician can notify about the system involvement. It generates report based on various animal parameters, animal fields, and diagnostic fields, animal disease record, treatment and prescription record, antimicrobial using records. So we'll get the data of different parameters from this system. It's a tool for antimicrobial resistance research and climate change research. The use of Pet Seva animal health electronic clinical record system can play a significant role in reducing animal antimicrobial resistance and mitigating climate change. The animal health electronic record system can help address AMR by tracking and monitoring the use of antibiotics in animals, helping veterinarians make more informed decision about the prescription antibiotics and reduce the unnecessary use of antibiotics. In terms of climate change, the livestock sector is a significant contributor to greenhouse gas emission. By using vegetable animal health electronic record system, livestock farmers and veterinarians can better manage herd health, reduce animal waste, and optimize feed efficacy, lead to the lower greenhouse gas emission and more sustainable livestock industry. While we have some advantage, there is some disadvantage of these technologies. The first one is cost. Implementing an electronic record system can require a significant investment, reducing hardware, software, and training cost. Another is technical issues. Like any other technology-based system, electronic records have susceptible to the software malfunction, system crashes, electric power disruption, and other technical issues. And data privacy and security is the most important thing, because it have a chance, it include sensitive information. So it have a risk to data break or cyber attack. User acceptance is another thing. Not all veterinary professionals may be comfortable or familiar with using this electronic record system. Some may prefer traditional paper record, or may require it may require additional training to become proficient with the new system. So therefore, it is important to consider these challenges and take a step to mitigate these risks involvement. Hopefully, this digital innovation in animal health will be a powerful component for the future of veterinary service and improve the quality of life of the community by creating a sustainable employment, ensuring food security and safety, and mitigating the climate change. Thank you so much for your time and patience.
Thank you, Dr. Sultana. If you would like to chat or ask questions with Dr. Sultana, please put them in the chat or the question and answer function, and we will transition to Dr. Dossou-Yovo.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you very much. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thanks a lot. It's a great honor for me to join this discussion, and I'm going to make a short presentation on water management innovation to enhance smallholder farmers' resilience to climate change in rice-based systems in sub-Saharan Africa. I will actually present the cause of the low rice yield in sub-Saharan Africa, the impact of climate change, the water management innovation that can enhance the resilience of farmers that my team will have developed or adapted. And I will insist on the need to move from innovation development to scaling. And I will end with some research gaps that need to be addressed in future research. So there are three major rice production systems in sub-Saharan Africa, known as irrigated lowland, rain-fed lowland, and rain-fed uplands. And in all rice production systems, farmers' yield are low. There is a large gap between the potential yield, which is actually the maximum yield that can be obtained in farmers' condition, and the farmers' actual yield. And the low farmers, the fact that the farmers' yield are low in sub-Saharan Africa can be attributed to several constraints that includes poor land development, poor soils, water scarcity, drought and flooding, the use of obsolete varieties, poor management practices, pest and disease. Climate change affects rice production in the region. In most of the rice production sites, rice yield is projected to to decline by more than 50%. I mean, in some cases, even more. And a recent study projects a decrease in inland valley suitability for rice cultivation by more than 50%. In the case of Benin and Togo, this actually clearly shows that climate change is likely to compromise the ambition of the sub-Saharan African region to reach rice self-sufficiency and reduce the importation on rice basically from Asia. In my team, we have developed and validate water management innovation to enhance farmers' resilience to climate change. And one of these innovations that I would like to talk about is the smart valleys approach for land and water development in inland valleys. Inland valleys are actually widespread agro-ecosystems in sub-Saharan Africa, but the use of the inland valley is affected by drought and flooding, which really negates rice cultivation. So with my team, we developed that approach that helped to mitigate the impact of droughts and flooding in inland valley. It increased rice yields, farmers' income, food consumption score, and the impact of the inland valley on rice yield increase, as we can see on a figure which is at the bottom here. The impact on that approach on rice yield is even higher where we have lower rainfall amounts. It means that it's a technology that really helps farmers to mitigate the impact of droughts on rice production. We have estimated that the West African region will be self-sufficient in rice if 9% of the total inland valley area is developed using the smart valleys approach. And this is an important finding considering the fact that most of the countries in sub-Saharan Africa have clearly targeted achieving rice self-sufficiency as one of the major priorities. Another innovation that we adapt and validate in several biophysical and socioeconomic conditions is attenuated wetting and drying, which is actually a water management approach that addresses the issue of water scarcity that affects rice production, but also reduce greenhouse gas emission. We adapt that approach in the irrigation systems in West Africa, mostly in Cote d'Ivoire, in Ghana, in Mali. And that results in significant reduction in the wheat biomass in irrigation system where lowland wheats were dominant. And that was the first time that funding was actually available. It reduced the irrigation water requirement, it decreased water productivity, and significantly reduced the global warming potential of rice cultivation. Something that was also unique about attenuated wetting and drying from our research was that we were able to show that with an increase in the soil pH and the application of nitrogen fertilizer based on the crop demands, we have a higher rice yield in the AWD fields compared to the fields that are continuously flooded. So this study clearly shows that there are opportunities for even having higher yields in the field under attenuated and dry compared to continuous flooding when we invest or when farmers improve their soil pH and make apply nitrogen based on the crop demands. We also evaluated the suitability of land for attenuated and dry scaling to identify where this technology can work and when that technology can work. So we developed an integrated ecological niche modeling and soil water balance assessment approach that we applied for the case study of Burkina Faso that helped to evaluate the potential area for irrigated rice, which was estimated at 2.1 million hectares. The whole of the dry season was found suitable for the attenuated and dry application, and 25 to 100% of the irrigated lowland in the rainy season was found suitable for attenuated and dry, depending on the soil population. So this was an important finding, particularly to guide governments in the expansion of irrigated rice area using water-saving technologies. Another innovation that we recently developed is mid-season drainage. There are different forms of mid-season drainage, but we are able actually we developed one that addressed the issue of iron toxicity, which is a major constraint for rice cultivation in sub-Saharan Africa and affects around 900,000 hectares of rice. So the mid-season drainage technology that we developed was able to significantly reduce iron toxicity stress in irrigation system to reduce the irrigation water requirement and increase water productivity. We were able to show clearly that in the irrigation system where soil organic carbon was higher, and where we have a high score of iron toxicity, this technology significantly increased the rice yield compared to continuous flooding. So that study identified not only the performance of the mid-season drainage on several sustainability performance indicators that are mentioned there, but more importantly, show in which environment that technology results in an increase in the yield compared to the farmers' practice of continuous flooding. In most of the rain-fed lowland in sub-Saharan Africa, farmers produce crops only once because of water scarcity and poor water management. So we are able to develop an irrigation scheduling that will help farmers to optimize water use during the dry season and enable diversification options, particularly with vegetables that have actually a high market values. So that irrigation schedule that we developed was based on the soil water availability. We test the approach and then we validate in irrigation system in Cote d'Ivoire. And this significantly increased the system water use efficiency by more than 20% and a farmer's net income by more than 50%. So with that approach, particularly women who are more inclined to produce vegetables during the dry season can now use that technology to optimize the water use during the dry season. And we are doing a lot of capacity building activities, particularly to women farmers, to use the innovation. Several innovations have been developed in the past by research and development organization, but the observation on the ground is quite clear that the adoption by farmers is very limited. Therefore, there is a clear need to move from the development of the technology to the scaling of the technology to the transformation of the agri-food system that we want and to the impact that we want actually to generate. So we are able to adapt a framework that will help in a given biophysical and socioeconomic setting to identify the innovations on which or the innovation that should be promoted for scaling. And this framework was developed using 4 climate-smart performance indicators that include the effect of the innovation on yields, on income, on resilience to climate change, on the mitigation of greenhouse gas emission, and 4 implementation feasibility indicators, particularly how easy is the innovation to be used by farmers, what's the cost for using the innovation, how the innovation integrate aspects such as gender, and how the innovation also respond to the need of the market. So we're able to develop that framework and we apply it to the rice-based system in Mali that help to identify what we call the best bet innovations and the innovation that needs some incentive or maybe need actually some barriers to be overcome before they can be taken to scale. So if you look at this figure that's on the right side, the quadrant that is green actually is composed of innovation that have high climate smart performance indicator and high implementation feasibility indicators. So these are the innovations, for instance, that we identify that are ready to be taken to scale, for which business model can be developed with the private sectors to enhance the adoption by farmers. And the innovation that are in the red quadrant are innovation that have high climate smart performance indicator, meaning that they increase the yield, they increase the income, they increase the resilience to climate change. Potentially they could affect or not affect greenhouse gas emission, but those innovations cannot yet be taken to scale because there are other constraints that are related to the cost of the innovation, to the capacity building of the value chain actors, or maybe to the fact that they are not very much gender inclusive or they are not demanded in the market. And those constraints, for instance, need to be alleviated before those innovations can be taken to scale. So that framework that we develop can be used by government, by investors, by private sectors, particularly to identify the innovation in which they are going actually to make investment for scaling and transform the system. So, I mean, in short, the ambition of sub-Saharan African countries to reach food security can be, is potentially compromised by climate change. In this presentation, I focus on the innovation that I'm working on that actually include a smart valleys approach to mitigate the effect of drought and flooding in inland valleys, the attenuating and drying approach, and the suitability assessment of AWD to address the issue of water scarcity that affect the irrigation system, but also greenhouse gas emission, the mid-season drainage to reduce the effect of iron toxicity, irrigation scheduling for optimizing water use in integrated rice vegetable system, participatory prioritization framework to identify the best innovation, and business model development with the private sector for scaling. There is, a need for more research, particularly in the cost-benefit analysis and impact of the innovation. That's something that we are now moving to. Sustainable financing mechanism, particularly to ensure that farmers have the investment to adopt the innovation. More research needs to be done on diversification option in rice-based systems. Landscape level water management and nutrient management is key because the innovation have an impact on the environmental resources that need to be taken into account so that we are not only promoting innovation to achieve rice self-sufficiency or probably to reduce the issue of food insecurity, but we are also very much caring about water and environmental degradation. There is the need for more research on the land suitability for rice-based systems. Greenhouse gas emission mitigation is an important topic that needs to be be more present in the rice research and water governance, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, where farmers do not actually have rights to use water is determined by either the Water User Association or probably by a few managers of the irrigation schemes, and that affects overall the adoption of the water management technology that we are promoting. Actually, this presentation, I focus on water management approach to enhance the resilience of farmers to climate change. There are other innovations that I have not presented because I tried to, because of the sake of time. Otherwise, it's important for enhancing the resilience of farmers to climate change to also focus, to also promote the use of the stress-tolerant varieties. Climate information services are playing an important role to help farmers to make decisions about the technology that they can use, location-specific fertilizer weed management, post-harvest technologies as well are very important to improve the quality of the product. And all these things are very much required to transform rice-based system in the context of climate change. But more importantly, we need to move beyond the innovation development, beyond the innovation validation, to address the issues that affect the adoption of the innovation, the scaling of the innovation, and the impact at scale that we want to see. So that was actually in a nutshell what I wanted to share with you. Thank you for your attention. Some references are there for maybe some selected publication. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dossou-Yovo. Just a little bit on time. We're going to have to go a little bit longer than an hour to get some questions and answers in. So I hope you'll stay with us. But without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Mahalingam Govindaraj.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about the progress in biofortification, especially the millet crop, where I was doing, more than 12 years work. I hope this presentation will give you the more, impact-oriented on how this can be scaled, such innovation. Considering the wider audience, I would like to, clarify the biofortification is, ultimate aim is to improve the human nutrition, but it complements both supplementation and food fortification. And the biofortification is, refers to the enhancement of the essential micronutrient and vitamins in edible parts of the crop. especially the stable crops that will have the measurable impact when one can consume regularly. So this is a proven strategy. They're trying to do, the food system as nutritious as possible because the diet is the base for health. Moving, yes. So you know that challenges why the biofortification needed. I'm not going to detail. However, it is very important to complement and reduce the nutrition gap that will exist for several decades. This is also, majorly for single reason, I would say, as a crop scientist, the central goal of food production is not optimized for nutritional security. Of course, the food security is not just about the quantity, but also about the quality and diversity. Therefore, biofortification come into front row to help and complement the nutritional intervention. As we all know that 2 billion people across the globe is hidden hunger, and primarily these are prevalent in middle and low income countries. They don't have essential micronutrients, which are, the daily diet, which are stable diet, say for the major stable rice, wheat, maize, and millets, including in sub-Saharan Africa. Therefore, agriculture and nutrition should connect to address such long-lasting problems. Therefore, the food production, and the market in coming years should be aligned to reduce the cost of the supplementation and fortification sustainably. How the prioritization is happening. It's based on the consumption pattern and the particular nutrient deficiency in the target geography and the crop grown. Those are the parameters to be considered to see and to set the prioritization both crops and trade, including geography. It's just like any other trade, field improvement or disease or insect resistance. But this is just to defer extra miles, to meet the estimated average recommendation. That's the daily requirement of nutrition and dealing with the invisible traits in crops, especially in some traits, vitamin A, we can quantify qualitatively by yellow or orange. But however, in other nutrient, iron and zinc is not able to, visible in crop. So the blue bar, what you are seeing in this picture is that variation available in the commercially grown varieties, but the green one is the targeted to meet through biofortification, how we can improve the health of the vulnerable population. Harvest Plus targeted, 3 major nutrients, which are iron and zinc and provitamin A. These are considered to be the major deficiencies of the globe. And it works on 7 crops, more than 2 decades now, almost 2 decades, and released more than 290 varieties across the globe with the national partners as well as the CGR partners. So how does it is possible? That we need a fast or rapid high throughput techniques to screen such invisible traits in the croplands. And the crop breeding program or crop improvement program, Gene Bank handles thousands of samples, and per crop season, you have to handle and advance to the next season the most suitable and desired lines and varieties. So therefore, Harvest Plus and Oxford and Flinders University work together and develop this technology, which is non-destructive method and rapid and highly cost-effective. And today, it's represented almost all parts of the world in the global south, and especially in the national agriculture system and CGR system to accelerate the screening process. Therefore, development of biofortified crops, not only in millet, in many other targeted stable food crops, will have the more selection feasibility. And then one can have the quickly, advanced and national varietal testing. Therefore, this is that game-changing tool in biofortification. Just an example, I avoided a lot of technical things, but some of such things is, very important to clarify how it differs from the commercially farmer-grown varieties in the biofortified one. What you are seeing here, the group of millet varieties, which is distributed from research to the commercial sector. The commercial sector, when I say mostly the private and public sector, and whereas others are come from the germplasm, and the green one is light green one, you can see the biofortified one. Almost 98% of the material is, with the targeted level of a given target nutrient, in this case is the iron. So therefore, it is critically, you can analyze and see this. None of the commercially or farmer grown varieties are qualified to meet that. Of course, that's not bad for that, but this is why we need to monitor and quantify the needy nutrients where the stable foods in sub-Saharan Africa and western and central parts of the India is the millions of people, stable food pearl millet. Therefore, it is very important to quantify and mainstream such trait, in a commercially grown variety. Therefore, the food system can be, enhanced with the nutrition supply. And some of the varieties which we have, our team is released. This is the first wave, of course, but it is now, it comes to the mainstreaming approach, and you can see that the three hybrids, which are largely, representing the Indian states, and with the help of the North National Agriculture Research System, especially the State Agriculture University, they helped in releasing such, the novel products in the system, which are currently, high demand. It's not just for international care of millet, but also this use and the trait which carries a higher level of iron and zinc in addition to yield and disease resistance. The seed production is scaled up now this year, and it is almost, a mainstream in the seed system. On the right side, you are seeing that, a variety, open pollinator variety, which is largely, preferred in Western and Central Africa. This was released in Nigeria, Niger, and this is also, listed in ECOWAS countries, just adjoining countries in Western Central Africa. The beauty of this variety is not just carrying the biofortified trait iron and zinc, it matures almost a month early than the local variety. So that's the beauty that picking up the seed system, and farmer really prefer to grow to fill that hungry gap, which is long day to wait harvest their own crops in the local variety. So this is a great idea, and there is one more thing to be notified as a farmer. Prefer traits with a long panicle, but we were skeptical and that this short panicle may not fly due to the tying of the panicles. The farmer prefer to touch just before their food preparation or store the seed for the next season. Therefore, the short also is preferred how to tie it now. So as a nutritionist, is our foremost runner, and they are always measuring how the efficacy and bioavailability of the biofortified millet or any other crop is really doing on the consumption and human efficiency studies. Is done in pearl millet, and it is indicated the consumption of pearl millet, iron pearl millet, significantly improves the iron status. It varies from 4 months to 6 months. But it has, almost iron deficiency, almost reversed more than 6 months consumption of the particular variety. And it also gives the additional benefits, physical activities and cognitive development and attention, etc. But the beauty is that, it gives 80% of the daily iron requirement, and both in, adults and children. That's the beauty. But if you see the household growing the iron pearl millet from the year released in 2014, and now in 2022 data, we have more than 360,000 farmers growing. So this is likely to enhance in India when the competitive biofortified product in market, and also the hybrid introduced in Western and Central Africa. Sorry. The harvest plus, works across the crop development value chain, which is very important and differ from the any other, the project or program. So that is, connecting from the upstream research and developing the pipeline and seed multiplication with the seed grower and farmers, and distribution to the farmers, and not stopping there and reaching till the retail product. That's the key mantra to scale up and increase the consumption of the biofortified seed or grain. from farmer grown to the retail product. And another good news to the procurement are the industry people. Harvest Plus works with the Global Alliance Nutrition Gain, and also the BSI Standard Institution developed the grade or class of the grain to be procured in the market for iron content in case of pearl millet. So 3 classes are developed, so it helps scaling up such innovation from the agriculture to food industry. The roadmap for the biofortification integration is well set. However, the investment is still needed to integrate in a much bigger way, and not just alone stop in pearl millet, but also to enhance in other crops. With the help of the National Agricultural Research System, locally and regionally, and globally with the CGIAR system. And this is very important opportunity. International Year of Millet, we are negotiating and continuously brainstorming how we can do it in product line development. And very important to know that by 2020, the Harvest Plus led biofortification program has to integrate in most of the breeding program, especially public and private sector, where the targeted investment can be reduced so that everyone has to follow the established standards to make the food system more nutritious as possible. So one of the new projects introduced with the partners of the Harvest Plus, the HANSA, is the school feeding, health and nutrition for school-age children in India. Very recently, is going to make a big impact in the school feeding program, which is the largest meal program in India, and I think it is, of course, in Asia. So this is going to help, not just iron pearl millet, it is also zinc rice and zinc wheat as well. This is a great opportunity for the private sector and the public sector to grow such integration. So I'm almost closing that. My presentation is concluding that our goal is to not reach the regional or local. Our goal is to reach the global. There's 1 billion people with the biofortified crops by 2030. This is not possible if with a single hand. It is possible with highly productive partnership and also the committed investment in coming years. So biofortification is not a silver bullet to address the malnutrition or any nutritional intervention, but this is likely to be very sustainable and it is an easily acceptable strategy in the food system. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Govindaraj, and thank you to all our Borlaug Field Award recipients for those great presentations. And now we'll move into a question and answer session. I'd say we have a question and answer feature. We also have the chat feature. If you would like to ask a question, I'm going to start off the questioning here myself and just say, my initial question is, well, what does it look like to ensure that innovation solutions are equitable, economically viable, and relevant in the communities that you work in, right? So what do you tell to your colleagues and your friends about innovations and how you foster them? So that's kind of 2 questions.
Hello.
Go ahead, Dr. Dossou-Yovo.
Okay, thanks a lot. I think a participatory approach is required for the development, adaptation of the innovation to enable the adoption by farmers. It's important that the beneficiary of the innovation be farmers, national agricultural research systems, university or private sector are involved right from the beginning in the design of the innovation, in its evaluation, adaptation, and scaling. and also the benefits of the innovation in terms of either increased productivity or quality or resilience to climate change need to be clearly proven. Other barriers that often affect the adoption of the innovation that are related to the technical feasibility, the cost for implementation, the gender inclusivity, but also the demand by the market need to also be very much taken into account during the development of the innovation. And I would say that for innovation actually to be adopted by large population in an equitable way, it's important that all the socioeconomic groups participate in the design and own the innovation that have been developed. In my presentation, I talk a little bit about the smart valleys approach, and that was, the adoption of that innovation has been large in West Africa because it is a participatory approach that really consider the opinion of the different stakeholders.
Dr. Sultana or Dr. Govindaraj, would you like to come in on this question?
Yes, that's a great question because nowadays mobile application has extended into every sector of the society due to widespread use of web-delivered technologies. So as medical health practice are supported by the mobile technologies and wireless devices, hopefully it also also will be popular in animal health sector. The use of these technology are involved will drive livestock, which will allow improve access to valuable information that can help a stakeholder make the best possible decision and use available resource to deliver economic, social, and environmental benefits to increase the productivity, improve that product quality and safety, and it would be, of course, cost effective of this business.
Thanks, Nadish. May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. In addition to my colleagues, added to that innovation, how is equitable? Biofortification is one of the innovation in crop science and connecting the nutritionists and agriculturists. That's important to know that, as Ambassador said in the plant breeding, there's a long history of integrating the latest innovation to enhance the crop production. So therefore, I feel that it's economically viable and contextually relevant to the vulnerable population, especially malnourished population. This is very important to consider as one of the innovations, and also to the collective efforts of the broad community of scientists, not just agriculture, nutritionists, and socioeconomic gender specialists come together with a commitment, investment from the donor as well, is a key to play a role in innovation as well. That's all from my end.
Great. I want to talk to you a little bit about, individuals who have a significant amount of education, right? And how do you kind of translate that down to folks who are working on the field, right? Is that part of your job remit? So how do you take it from this highly technical level into a thing that can be really implemented in the field? And this isn't on our prepared question, so I threw you a curveball, so to speak. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I will probably try to share my perspective. I think the question is around how do we maybe make sure that the technology that we have developed using probably high techniques are finally adopted by farmers.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, and in my opinion, there are a few steps that need to be considered for the innovation to be adopted. Based on my experience, I will probably cite quickly 7. One is capacity building. which is extremely important because the farmers or the stakeholders may not have the capacity to use the innovation. So that is important that the capacity is strengthened. The second is about sustainable financing mechanism. Most of the time, scientists do not touch that aspect, but it's extremely important because farmers may not have the investment required to adopt the innovation. Third is about, the integration of gender, because if you take the case of Sub-Saharan Africa, most of the time, women are left out when it comes to the scaling of the technology. They don't have access to the information, they don't have access to the resources. So it's important that the scaling of the technology also consider the aspect of gender. Another aspect would be partnership. It's very important, partnership with private institutions, partnership with public institutions, because one thing is to develop the innovation by CGR centers or by research organizations, but the scaling of the technology is really the domain of expertise of the public and the private sector. So partnership with them is extremely important. And six, I would say, is packaging. It's important that the technology is very easy, friendly, can be very much attractive. And I will end with communication. It's important to communicate the benefit of the technology so that people are aware of it, and then other stakeholders can very much come in and take it to scale to very much translate in the adoption that we want and is required to impact the transformation of the food systems. Thank you.
In case of our country, technology adapted is going well because our government is supporting to transfer technology. This is digital technology. So we have some recent problem, and that is the network issues or ICT information technology infrastructure are not developed truly. But if the farmers would like to adopt this technology, so they need some digital device. They need without any disruption electricities and some internet connection. If they adopt these things and they can overcome these things, then this service will be very viable for sustaining animal production, and it will lead the poverty reduction, and it will give some employment generation. And this is the interdisciplinary development, and I'm hoping for this. I'm hoping that this innovation will actually help them with regarding in their discipline. And if we consider if we can overcome the challenges, the cost minimize, and the training, we establish the training program, data adoption or the data system involvement, then it will actually help for the disease incidence or occurrence and its outcome, and which symptoms are mainly involving in emerging diseases. And which in our country we have a major problem in antibiotic uses, because we will get over-the-counter antibiotics. So just like over-the-counter drugs, without any prescription, we are getting antibiotics. And farmers can buy antibiotics from any pharmacy. So actually, we don't have the proper data what kind of antibiotics are going to the animal body, and they don't actually properly maintain the withdrawal time. So without having this withdrawal time, it actually entered the food value chain. So actually, if we can adopt this technology and monitor by the world data from the vaccination to the next deworming process and their breeding, so I think it will help the global issue. As well as it mitigate the interdisciplinary problem and the global problem. Over to you, Kali.
Thanks. Dr. Govindaraj.
Yeah, working in field and with the diverse partnership is the key. As Dossou-Yovo said that, capacity building. And before capacity building, identifying the gaps which are existing in, implementation area, which is relevant to the project which you are implementing, and also the related to the project which are already some technology or the partner who is trained over there has to be considered. And that will, boost the adoption and giving the ownership to the local and partners. The technology will really be a kind of sustainable way, and that improve, working in the field experience. Well,
Great. As we finish out this webinar, just want to encourage our audience who's still here to nominate someone for this year for the Borlaug Field Award. The nominations are open, and they close on June 15th. My last question for our esteemed colleagues is, tell us how receiving the Borlaug Field Award has impacted your work and your endeavors over the last few years. Yeah, so that's my last question. Then we'll finish up the webinar.
Thanks for the question. Honestly, this award has made a huge impact on my life, and it's constantly improving me. I am very privileged to receive the Borlaug Field Award because Norman Borlaug has dedicated his life to the farmers, and I am honored for work for the farmers. The award increased the acceptance of my work in my community and exposed work to the international arena. The awarding body, also Press Foundation, not only give us the awards, but also keep in touch and help us connect to the far-reaching network. I feel that they are always striving for my development. I'm grateful to the former president and the award jury and all of this staff. And I will recommend everyone, if you have the person around you who are working for the development, the society and the community, please nominate them for the award. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Probably may I comment?
Yes.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'll very much encourage institutions working on research to nominate candidates for the Norman Borlaug Award, because personally it has a huge impact on me, on my career. First of all, through a better exposure to the international community. That really helped me to build interest, understand that what I'm doing has a value, and then develop really perseverance in what I'm doing. And I think for young guys, this is an important feeling to have, to very much build confidence and trust in yourself. The second thing was, now I really want what I'm doing to translate clearly in impact on the ground. So I really focus my interventions on farmers. I try to learn a lot from farmers, try to do research more that will benefit them, a bit trying to copy what Norman Borlaug has been, as an agronomist. So that really changed my character, and I think it is translating into more impact on the ground. The third one has to do with how I'm perceived in the environment, in my institutions, and with people who know me, who have seen me naturally when I was growing, and then who saw me as someone who likes working hard. It has also motivated them also to realize that the way to succeed is through hard work, and it always pays. And for Africa, this is an important lesson for youths. And I'm very happy actually to have been nominated because I feel I'm really like a role model. It's a big responsibility that I'm trying actually to fulfill and maintain every day. So I really encourage all institutions to give that opportunity to young talented in their institution to have this feeling. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So I truly feel that, plus with such a global recognition, which gives that to the visibility to the global audience, which is not expert in my area. They can recognize what work, the challenging work, what our team has done, and also the product and project we pursued and benefiting the millions of people today. That I feel that, is a very proud moment. And considering, as a global recognition, I received the tweets and emails, messages from the global experts and the leaders, and soon after the announcement, and they have been keep in touch with me. That looks for me to keep encouraging to the good work and the global cause, which is the solution we are finding through the agriculture. It's one of those varietal development is very important. So I feel that this is a truly blessing, and it's the mantra that the dedicated and hard work never fail, or at least recognized someday. So I feel that really to have the real impact on my life. To predict that is too early for me than those two people. They are earlier than me. So I really feel that the connectivity and partnership is increased. Not just on my area, how the other area can be connected to my work area. So that's the truly lesson for me. I think I encourage all the youngsters and mid-careers like us, please submit and nominate your application. Doesn't matter if it's big or small, the work we do, but we have to inform the global peers and how our work can be served. This is an opportunity for you. Thank you.
Thank you. This is so inspiring, and really our work is to lift you up, right? To encourage you, to elevate your work, and it's been so inspiring. I will, I don't know if Ambassador Branstad wants to say.
Yeah, I just say it's been very enlightening and very encouraging to hear the work you're doing to help farmers internationally, and we're very proud of you. And I just want to say again, thanks for participating in this digital dialogue today.
Thank you, Ambassador Branstad. In closing, we'll thank our three panelists once again and Ambassador Branstad, and note that on May 16th, our next webinar on nourishment, the title is Data on Food Systems, What is it good for? And we will have Dr. Lawrence Haddad as one of our speakers for that webinar. So put it on your calendars. I think it's going to be Dr. Lawrence Haddad is a World Food Prize laureate. And so I think it's going to be an amazing event. Thank you so much, everyone. We will see you next month. And of course, check out everything we have on our website, worldfoodprize.org. And please join us in October 24th to the 26th. The theme is Harnessing Change. Thank you so much.